Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again. In today's video, we got sent out from AUTO-VOX this digital wireless backup camera. So I'm going to be showing you how to install this. I'll quickly unbox it and show you everything you got. But if you're looking for something like this, hopefully after this video you can do it yourself. And if you want to pick up this exact one, the link will be down in the description. So what you get in the box is a little user manual. And if you want to purchase extended warranty, you can. That's on you. Then you get the actual screen itself, nice and thin, nice and light, and then you got your little cable to plug it in. And I know what you're thinking, well, you said this is a wireless backup camera. Wireless in the case that you don't have to wire all the way from the front screen to the back of whatever vehicle you're hooking this up to. It can be hardwired into your brake lights. You'll see that in the video. If you had an actual wireless, like completely wireless version, you'll need batteries. That's kind of a pain in the butt. You're going to have to change them all the time. And, you know, if you're driving somewhere and you don't forget to swap the batteries out, when you need this backup camera, it may not work. So it's super simple to do. Nice thin wire. It's easy to hide. But I'll show you just how well this works in a minute. And then on the back here, you have in the middle your menu screen. You got it up and down, and then a little button OK. You just click them. You'll see all that once we get it wired up as well. So the nice thing with this is, say if you have a truck like this and you're towing a trailer, you can have this in the front. You can hook up the camera actually to your trailer brakes, because this thing can go up to 100 feet, I believe, and it's still going to pick up the signal. So you can put a backup trailer or a backup camera on maybe like a camper trailer, on your boat, your Sea-Doos, whatever you're towing, you can have a backup camera on it. Or you can go the other way around. Because you don't have to run wires all the way through the vehicle, if you were to have this on your dash and maybe you want a front camera, like on my truck, if you come around here, it's got a front camera right there under the Nissan. So you can actually hook this thing up as a front camera as well, and you just have to find a spot to wire it in. And then when you turn on the power, if you need a front camera, maybe you're going off-road like I do and you don't have one, you're on a steep hill or something, you want to see what's over the edge, you can flick on your camera and you have a front camera. So a lot of options with this type of thing. Then in the box, you get your 12-volt low plug. You can see how much wire's bundled up here. This is probably like 10 plus feet. So once you get this wired in the vehicle, because of course every vehicle is different, this plug's not always in the same spot, but they give you plenty of cable here to run around and hide all the wires and make it look neat and still be able to reach the plug and back to the screen where this will plug in. Then, what else is in the box? Of course, you get your little camera. Comes on this hinge. It's got double-sided sticky tape on both sides. This is set up to be clearly a backup camera. What they want you to do is get that in between your license plate and kind of bolt it in. That's why you got the one slot in the middle. Bolt it into your license plate, and then when it gets sucked down back on the license plate on the front, it'll stick to your license plate, and this side will stick to the vehicle. And then again, you have a little plug there. It's just a tiny little 4-pin, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in there, little 4-pin wire to plug into the receiver, which is in the box. You get your little mount, which hooks right to the back of the screen. 4 little pegs, you can see they're slotted that way. So you plug it, put it in, just slide, it'll click into place. Then you have a nice sticky suction cup to hook onto your windshield. Then the receiver part, which is what you will hook up to your brake light in our case. You get your little digital receiver. That's what sends the signal to the screen, tells it to turn on when the camera gets power. You got a little relay box in there. And then positive and negative wiring. Negative can go to anything that'll ground it. You don't necessarily have to tap into a wire, but the red positive will be tapping into our reverse light on the vehicle that I'm hooking this up to. And then if you look over here, if you look right on the end of the little receiver, it's got an antenna on one side, and on this side you got your little 4 pins. That's what'll plug into the other end of the camera. So then when this gets power, sends power to the camera, everything boots up, you start sending a signal out of the little antenna here, and the screen will know it's time to turn on. So that's as easy as it is. The hardest part is tapping into the wire, and I'm going to show you that in this video. And then last but not least, They give you a few little zip ties to make everything neat when you're done, and these little connectors. I'm not a huge fan of this type of connector, but they do work, and it's just a brake light. So it should take what it needs to do and be able to hook it all together. Basically, you just put your brake light wire in the front, you put the camera wire in the back, you push down this little metal piece, it'll click all the way down, and then this flips open or flips closed like a little door, snaps it all together so nothing comes apart. But again, I'll show you that once we get it installed. So my truck already has front and rear camera, so we're going to get this out of the way. I'm going to bring in another car, which has no backup camera. We'll get it installed, and then we'll get outside and give it a test. Alright, so to begin this process, we're going to be doing this on this 2012 Honda Civic here. And I've got it started. You can see the cameras in here. And what I did, on these cars anyway, is there's clips basically inside. Most cars are the same. They'll have something like this that hold this little trim piece with the Honda badge on it. So what I did, and I don't know if you can see it in there, it's pretty dark, but there's a clip, just kind of like the license plate clips, right here in the middle. So what I did is I popped this trim off. I pulled that one clip out because the other 4 plus a screw will hold this thing on still, and that gives you a perfect spot to run the wire through. So you can see right there is where the wire comes through, and then I'm going to follow the harness all the way down here. Just strap it to the harness that is already there. That way you know you have enough slack for when the trunk is opening and closing that you're not going to rip the wire out. So you can come down here, and then we're going to be plugging into the driver's side rear tail light. And on this specific car, you have your brake light, your turn signal, and the inside one is your reverse light, and that's the one we're going to be tapping into. So I'm going to get the wiring up here. We'll get the license plate back on, because basically what you're going to want to do when this is closed and your plate's back on, clean this up. Obviously it's dirty behind there. Get your sticky tape off both sides, put this just like that, screw your license plate back on, and then that will hold this in place, and then all you're left to do is wire it up. Okay, we got the camera wire through. I zap strapped it following that wire, and then we're going to pop in right here. There's 3 little pop pins in those 3 holes just to get the carpet out of the way. And then in here we had one little issue. This is your reverse camera. Brown was your power, black is your ground. And we went to cut it, and when I clamped down that clamp I showed you guys, it actually sliced the wire right in half. So it's a little bit too small for those wires. They need to be a little bit bigger. But I did this differently. I put a little connector on there. You crimp it on the one side, crimp the other end, plus your power wire on the other side, and then you can tuck everything behind here like that. As for the ground, I just put it into the screw for the headlight right here, and then the other end of your camera plugs into the end of the little antenna wire right here. So that's all you need for the back. And then when you put this all back up, other than the one wire going through, it looks like it's all stock. Alright, so once you got it all wired up, you can close your trunk back up. I ended up putting this in the middle because I figured if you put it in with one of the screws, it's going to be off-centered. So we put it right in the middle. The wire goes up in there through the hole that I showed you. And then you can adjust this up and down, need be. Put it wherever you want. There's a little tiny screw on the side, tighten that up to hold it where you want it, but you'll have to turn it on to figure out the sweet spot. Alright, now in the car, we just put it on the dash for now. I figure it's easier to adjust and easier to show you guys. And then eventually we'll wire this all up nice. But you just have your wire coming off the screen. The 12 volt for this car is right here in the center console. And you just plug your one wire into the other side like I showed you. As long as your red light is on, you have power, and then you have a red light on the screen. So now, if you look, if we put the car into reverse, there you go. The camera pops on, you got your backup screen nice and clear. You can see my mom in the truck back there. And then you also have your guidance lines. So you don't have the beeps to tell you to slow down, but you do have your lines to show you where you're going to be. Alright, so once your camera is on, you do have the settings behind here, up and down. Middle's the menu. A little further in on the menu, or beside the menu, is your OK. So if we hit menu, you can see pair. That'll just pair it to the receiver in the back if for some reason it's not turning on or you can't see the camera. Hit the pair button and it'll find it and it'll pair it to the screen up front. Then up to contrast, you can change the brightness and the contrast depending what you want to do. We're not going to mess with that because we're in the garage right now and the lighting's all weird, so it'll look a lot different when it's outside. Then if you go back to menu, mirror, what this is it kind of just mirrors it. It'll flip the camera like that. That's if you have it for a front-facing camera, because everything's going to be the other way around. So you'll mirror it and it'll put it the right way so your camera's not backwards from what it's actually seeing. Then if you go to the guidelines, that is exactly what it says, the guidelines. You can turn them off. You can see they're off now. Go back to on and they're staying on. And then last but not least, reset. So if you want it to go back to stock, how it was when you first turned the box on, you hit reset and everything will go back and you can start messing around with the options from as it was from stock. And then once you have the camera all installed and ready to go, you can adjust it up and down. This one runs into the license plate, but it does still have quite a bit of play. If you look right in there, hopefully it'll focus. But anyways, right there is a little screw. So you just get your screwdriver in there, pick your sweet spot, give it a little twist to tighten it up, and it'll hold the camera where you want it to be. So you'll go outside, pick a level spot on the ground somewhere, find the sweet spot, tighten it up, and then it won't move on you after that. All right, so here we are outside. You can see everything's nice and bright, nice and clear. The quality is pretty good for something like this, just being able to wire up and hook right into your car. So again, if you like the video, like and subscribe. Make sure to check out AUTO-VOX if you want to pick this up. The link will be down below, and hopefully this video helped you hook it all up properly. And again, just be careful with the brake lights. Also, which I didn't mention in this video, double check your lights. Make sure the whole light works as a whole, plus your backup light, because if you don't do it quite right, maybe the wires aren't connected quite right, you might have no power, or you might have messed something up and you might not have power to the bulb. So just double check that, make sure all your lights are good. And then all that's left is find a spot where you want this wire. And you can see this wire has tons of slack there. There's probably like 10 plus feet. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do in this specific car, so you don't see the wires, I'm going to run it backwards and then kind of along here. This is a 2012 Civic. Don't mind the big cracked windshield. That's because the awesome truck drivers around here clean out their vehicles so well and they're throwing rocks up. It hit so hard, it actually came right through the window on the inside. So that'll get fixed. But again, run your wires down, kind of tuck it in all the trim around, go under, and then you can plug it right back in here. So again, like and subscribe. Hopefully this helped you out. Big shout out to AUTO-VOX for sending this out. Hopefully it helped you out and you liked the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.